Now, we were talking during the commercial while we were, by the way, Rose still isn't here.
No.
But we were talking about how Randy and Rose met, and he started telling me the story, and I said, hang on to it, let's talk about it on the show. Now, how did the two of you meet?
Well, basically, I was looking for a secretary, and my lawyer and myself we were in the office, and the secretaries were coming in, and we were interviewing them, and I had never had a secretary before, but Rose came in, and I fell in love with her. She came in, sat down, and I just fell in love with her. And we interviewed her, and she went out, and then I said, Mark, I said, I can't hire this girl as my secretary. And he said, why? And I said, because I'm in love with her. And he said, well, go ask her out. So I went on, and I kind of asked her out, and she said, no. And I came back in, and I said, I got to hire her. And he said, why? And I said, because she just refused me. And I said, I got to keep her around until I can show her that I'm a nice guy, you know. And I did, and as soon as possible, I hired another secretary because I just couldn't have her as a secretary.
Right.
But that's basically how we met.
That's really nice. Are you planning on having any children? Which, incidentally, that's a great way to keep her from becoming a big star, you know.
Yes, we have discussed this, and she's one step ahead of me. She's already thought of that, right? We do want to have children, but right now it's hard to discuss it because she wants a career, and I believe that no matter what, she's got to do it. Otherwise, she's not going to be happy with her life. No matter what happens after this, if I try to coerce her in any way in not having a career, then she's not going to be happy. Therefore, I'm not going to be happy. So she's got to run the gamut, and then. But yes, indeed, we do want children.
That's a nice attitude. Nice attitude. Tell me about the Seekers.
Oh, the Seekers, God, I love the Seekers. The Seekers is, for those that don't know, it's John Jakes. He has about 9 or 10 novels now about the American past. It starts off with Andrew Stevens plays Philip Kent. I play Philip Kent's son, and Abraham. And it's going to be right now. It's being shown all over the United States this week, I believe, and it won't be shown here in the L.A. area until I think the first week in December. But basically, for those that are familiar with the Bastard, I think was the first book, and then the Rebels, and then the Seekers. It's basically about Philip Kent's son. Philip Kent got somewhat of a reputation as being a real revolutionary soldier and a real patriot. And so here along comes Abraham Kent, who has to now match up to his father's reputation. And he doesn't much like war. He goes to the Indian Wars, and he comes back, and his father asks him, he says, well, what do you think of soldiering? And he said, in my view, it's the most despicable profession to have.
You while you were doing the Seekers, you were also working on detective school, right?
Yeah, the last week of the Seekers, this was probably the neatest thing that ever happened to me. We were way out on location in Simi, so detective school started rehearsal. They couldn't put it off a week because they had an air date, so they decided to get a helicopter, and I was out on location, so I felt like Jimmy Carter. The helicopter would land, and out in the middle of this big field, and the crew, they were all standing around going, oh boy, can you believe this guy? And I was running out to the helicopter, and I was playing it up, just smiling, waving down to everybody, and here we are landing on the roof of CBS, and it was an ABC show, so CBS really didn't like an ABC helicopter landing on the top of a CBS station. And I did this twice, and I ate it up. But one thing, I had never been over L.A. in a helicopter. I don't know whether you realize this or not, but do you fly at all?
No, as little as possible.
Okay, when you fly over an airport in say a helicopter or a small plane, you fly right over the middle of it. You don't go around it. You literally find the airport, and you fly right through the middle of it. Now, I didn't know what this guy was doing. This guy wasn't a real talkative guy either.
You mean, when you say the middle of it, you mean if there are planes landing this way, you fly this way?
If there are planes landing this way and taking off this way, you fly like this.
At right angles to everybody else.
Well, first off, the plane has to land, right? So if you're over here, you may get hit by a plane.
Nice.
So if you're over here, you may get hit by a plane taking off. You fly right over the middle of it. Well, he didn't explain it to me. First off, he wasn't very talkative at all. And so all of a sudden, here we come onto an airport, and there's no brake. I'm going, holy smokes, does this guy know what he's doing? And he's talking, and and I can't believe it. And I'm watching planes do this, and I'm watching planes do that. The logic is not entering into my brain at all. And I'm going, my God, we're going over the airport. We're going over the airport. Do you know what you're doing? And then finally, he told me what I was doing. It scared the devil out of me.
Yeah. Well, we've had a couple of scary things with helicopters on this show, too. I was late one day coming in, and they picked me up in a helicopter and flew me to the studio, and we landed outside the stage, and it was in a rainstorm, and we have one of our staff, Michael Mead, happened to be in the helicopter. He was the one, when I got off the plane, who actually coerced me into getting into the helicopter, and the guy flying the helicopter was about 11 years old, and when we got up, we couldn't see anything below except an occasional light, and he started...
This is the night?
It wasn't at night, it was late in the afternoon, but it was raining so hard that it was almost nighttime. He started looking at a road map. And if it wasn't for Michael Mead, we'd still be up there.
Yeah, this guy was looking at a road map, too. Yeah. He was following the Ventura Freeway. And then he cut over at the San Diego Freeway, and then finally he got off the freeway and then cut over to CBS. But he was following, that's another thing. It was good that you brought that up. There was another thing. He was sitting there following the road map.
Yeah. Mel Tillis had another flight. We picked Mel up at the airport and flew him to the studio in a helicopter one day, and it was such a horrendous flight for him, he stopped stuttering.